Oi, pessoal, tudo bem? This is Studying Portuguese with Gustavo, where you're gonna learn vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation tips for the Portuguese language, and of course, a little bit about Brazilian culture to help you speak Portuguese faster than you think. My name is Gustavo, and today's topic is ordering food in Portuguese. Okay, let's go. All right, guys. So first of all, I would like to say the difference about ordering food at a fast food chain or at a local restaurant. So, what is this class is about? Actually, nowadays I think it's pretty easy when you start ordering food in a fast food chain. It's not only in the US, in the UK, but actually, if you go to Brazil, for example, it's very simple as well. You just go, and then last time I went to I think McDonald's, you just go to those little kiosks, right? And then you just order the food, and that's it. And even though you need to speak with a person sometimes, basically, sometimes like the McDonald's won't have this kiosk, or maybe you go to another fast food restaurant. But at least you're gonna say basic vocabulary. You're gonna say, can I have a number one? Can I have a number two? What I want to tell you is when you go to a local restaurant, or at least when you go to just a good restaurant, if you go to Brazil, for example, the probability that the person who is going to serve you speak English is very low. So it's better you speak Portuguese before you go to Brazil and experience the local food over there. And then that is why I want to tell you why it's important to learn this vocabulary is exactly I just told you. I don't know about you guys, but every time that I travel, I like to try local food. I like to go to local restaurants. And I want to go there, talk to the waiter, make sure he understand, at least the basic, make sure he understand what I want to order. But if actually they don't know anything what I'm talking about, they will probably bring something else, you know. And this is a really interesting situation because you might think, well, maybe it's your case. Maybe you think, well, in Brazil, you're gonna have like some friends or gonna have like a family member or my partner even will be there. So I don't need to speak, I don't need to know because they're gonna help me out. But let me tell you why you needed to know. So imagine that you are hanging out with your friend, or even like your partner, and you want to surprise them. You want to actually order a champagne, for example, for a celebration, or you want to order like a specific dessert. So imagine that you want to prepare a surprise for them, and then you tell to your partner, for example, hey, can you tell them I want to order a champagne, or can you order this champagne for me? Or can you order this dessert for me? In normal situations, it works well, but imagine that you want to make a really surprise, or you want to try your Portuguese. So you can't rely on the time on them, right? Based on that, we're gonna learn everything. So today we're gonna learn since ordering food in Portuguese to order the bill, asking for the bill. So you're gonna see how to order, how can you order a drink, how can you order some dish, and at the end, how can you ask for the bill? All right. So I like to start telling you about the difference in order food in Brazil and order food in the US. I'm saying the US because I don't know if some of my students already know this information, but I am married to an American girl, and we met in China. So just to make a little bit of context, it's a long story, but long story short, we met in China, and then I had at that time when I met her, I hadn't been to the U.S. at that time. So I remember I was studying abroad. I was studying China, and I met today is my wife, but at that time I was just she was my friend, right? So it was interesting because in China, of course, I spoke Chinese with most of my Chinese friend, and also I spoke some English. But what it was funny is that I never practiced so much ordering food because every time that I would go to the restaurant in China, I would speak in Chinese. So I never practiced actually English vocabulary to order food. So after we started dating, I ended up going to spend a summer vacation in the US, you know, and it was really fun because, like I told you at the beginning, when I went to the US, we went to Maryland, and I remember we went to a restaurant to eat, just a normal restaurant. It was not even fast food. If I'm not mistaken, it was actually I would say a Chinese restaurant in the US. But and I remember we were there at this Chinese restaurant, and then in Portuguese, basically, if you literally translate the sentence, we say instead of saying, "Can I have this food?" In Portuguese, we say, "Give me this food," you know? So that's what I said because, like I told you guys, I never practiced uh, a restaurant vocabulary when I was in China, even though I had so many uh, um, uh, foreigner friends and I would speak English with them. I never used restaurant vocabulary, right? So first I started saying, "Hey, give me this." And when I said that, my wife, at the time she was my girlfriend, she looked at me, she was like, "Hey, this look a little bit rude. You say, give me." And I'm saying, "Yeah, but how am I supposed to order?" She said, "Can I have?" Like, okay. But for some reason, I wouldn't believe my girlfriend. I thought, I think she is just messing with me. But then I started noticing other people doing the same. Can I have? Can I get? I'll have this. I'll have that. And then I thought, well, it's so different. Even though I thought such a simple vocabulary would be the same, would just translate, but no, it's totally different. So that's why I've prepared this course for you guys, this little lesson. And then let me tell you how it's gonna work. So I'll share with you a whiteboard, and then if you're watching this video and then you are doing other things, for example, you are at the gym, you are cleaning your house, you are washing the dishes, don't worry because I'll try to speak most of the time. So even though I am sharing the whiteboard with you guys, you're gonna be able to see, but if you can watch for some reason, don't worry, I will explain everything, and at the end of the lesson you guys can take a screenshot of the summary, okay? So what we're gonna do, we're gonna see some vocabulary, see how people actually say order food in Portuguese, and then we're gonna read a dialogue, all right? So let me share my whiteboard with you guys, just a second. So so in here, guys, this class is actually for someone who already speak a little bit of Portuguese, who has some idea of it, knows how to say, a person who knows how to say, "Hi, how are you? I want this, I want that, I don't want this." But even though this lesson is a little bit for a person who knows a little bit of Portuguese, I'll try to do some review to try to help everyone. All right. So, first of all, when we get to a place, the first thing that we say is the greetings, right? So, you say, "Hi, how are you?" And in Portuguese, in Brazil, we really like to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, good night. This is a very common thing to do in Brazil. Really like to do it. So I will speak the word in Portuguese and then you repeat with me. All right? So come with me. The first one we have bom dia. So repeat with me. Bom dia. Nice, very good. And then we have boa tarde. Yes, boa tarde. Notice the D, we say G, okay? Boa tarde. And then we have boa noite. Yes, very good. Boa noite. This T, it's a little bit like CH. Boa noite. Okay, so when you get in a restaurant, the first thing to say, if you go, for example, for lunchtime, a lot of people are gonna say boa tarde, boa tarde. A lot of people. So you already know you're gonna say boa tarde. And notice, boa noite actually is good evening and good night in Portuguese. So you say boa noite when you get, to the restaurant, but also you say boa noite when you leave the restaurant. All right. So this is the first thing that you need to know. Probably you already know that, but this is just a small review. So now, usually after you get to the restaurant, what do you usually do? Usually people see you, right? And the first thing they ask, would you like to order a drink? The first thing. So when I say, can I have some water? It's the same thing to say, can I have this dish, for example, right? So in Portuguese, the same. So when you say, can I have, we have basically three ways of saying that in Portuguese. So the first one is give me. So repeat with me. Me dá uma água, por favor. Yes. Me dá uma água, por favor. Is a little bit faster, right? So a little bit slow again. Me dá uma água, por favor. A little bit faster. Me dá uma água, por favor. Yes, very good. But this is kind of easy to understand, but is we don't say that in English, but it's easy to understand. I'm saying that it is easy to understand because the second one, if you literally translate to English, there's no meaning in English. Because look, the second one is me vê. Me vê uma água, por favor. This me vê, actually, this vê, it comes up from the verb see. So kind of like see me. But this, in this situation, it means kind of like, can you provide that to me? Or can you give me? Or can I get? So we say me vê, me vê uma água. So repeat with me. I'm gonna say a little bit slow. Me vê uma água, por favor. Yes. So a little bit faster. Me vê uma água, por favor. Muito bom. And the last one is I want. I can say either I want some water or I can say I will want some water. So in this situation, want in Portuguese is querer. So I want, I say eu quero, right? So repeat with me. Number three, eu quero uma água, por favor. Nice. Ou eu vou querer uma água, por favor. Muito bom. Very good. So in here is a little bit of a observation. This is a little bit about Brazilian culture. So basically, when you are at the restaurant and you say, "Can I have some water?" Me dê uma água, por favor. A lot of waiters they will ask you, "Would you like sparkling water or mineral water or like normal water?" And then the way we say that is sparkling water. We say basically water with gas, with bubbles. So if it's for sure. If you say, "Can I get some water?" Me dá uma água, por favor. Me dê uma água. The waiter is gonna ask you, would you like água com gás, sparkling waters, or sem gás, without the bubbles? So, and then also he can say você quer or você gostaria. So you say, me dá uma água, por favor. And they say, você quer com gás ou sem gás? And you can say, eu quero com gás. Or eu quero sem gás. All right? And then another really interesting thing they ask at their restaurant, you're gonna notice that when you're gonna be in Brazil, or you probably already noticed that, depends on the soda you ask. For example, if you order Coke, or you order Pepsi, or you order sparkling water, or even there is a type of soda we have in Brazil, it is called Guaraná. Guaraná is a Brazilian soda and it's worth trying. It's very good. So every time you order soda like this, usually they ask, would you like ice and lime in your glass? Usually they ask that, would you like lime and ice? So they say in a short way, just ice and lime in the cup or ice and lime in the glass. So this is this expression we have right here. Look, gelo e limão no copo. So every time you say, você quer água com gás ou sem gás? Would you like sparkling water or normal water? Ah, eu quero com gás. And then the waiter say, gelo de limão no copo? Ah, sim, por favor. Ou não, obrigado. Very good. So first, we already learned how to say, hi, how are you, right? So basically, you can say one of the ways to say that is to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're gonna sit down and then you're gonna order drink. So the first thing to order is a drink before the food, right? So you're gonna say, can I have? And then usually when if you order water or soda, they will ask this type of questions, the waiter. All right. So let's talk about what usually the waiter says like in a restaurant context. So for example, first of all, they use a lot this type of grammar, gostaria, that basically is would you like? So, for example, would you like this? Would you like that? Would you like to order? Would you like some drink? You know, all the time they will say gostaria. So, repeat it with me. Você gostaria de? Nice. Very good. Or do you want? Is você quer? Okay. And then this is another really interesting situation. And when a person is serving you, it's very common to say, for example, sir or ma'am. In the US as well, right? Like every time a person is serving you, they probably say sir or ma'am. And in Portuguese, it's not different. In Brazil, it's not different. So someone can say senhor and a senhora. So senhor, sir, and senhora, ma'am. But look, this is very interesting because I can change você, which means you, for o senhor or a senhora. For example, this sentence, você gostaria de pedir uma bebida? Instead of saying você, I can change, for example, imagine that you are a boy. Then I can say, o senhor gostaria de pedir uma bebida? So I'll change você, choose o senhor. The same, if you are a woman, I will probably say a senhora. So, a senhora gostaria de pedir uma bebida? So, if you hear they say o senhor, a senhora, is likely, actually, they are saying you know? So they say, for example, você gostaria, or o senhor ou a senhora gostaria. So this is what the waiter or the waitress will say the most. This is very important because some of my students, they say, well, I can actually speak what I want. Usually I see the menu, right? And then I can ask, hey, I would like this or that. But usually when the waitress or the waiter speak back to me, I don't understand what they're saying. But probably you're not understanding because they use this type of vocabulary. Instead of say o senhor, they already say, instead of say você, they already use o senhor or a senhora. So you're not used to that. When they say a senhora gostaria de, and then you already get confused because you're like, what is that? What is that word? A senhora or o senhor. So if you know they will probably use this vocabulary, you are gonna pay more attention this, and it most likely you're gonna understand when they speak back to you. Okay. Other things they say the most. They say, for example, first, well, every time we get in a restaurant, they ask, "Would you like to order a drink?" So you're gonna say that. Você gostaria de pedir uma bebida? Or also they can ask you, do you want to take a look in the menu? So actually take a look, we can say in Portuguese, dar uma olhada or dar uma olhadinha. So for example, would you like to take a look at the menu? So você gostaria de dar uma olhadinha no cardápio? Also they can ask you, você gostaria de uma entrada? So entrada in Portuguese basically means appetizer, okay? So after the drink, sometimes they can ask, você gostaria de uma entrada? Ou o senhor ou a senhora gostaria de uma entrada? Or gostaria de uma sobremesa? So after you eat, all the time they can ask you, would you like something for dessert? Right? And they sometimes they even have like a specific menu for desserts. So they may ask you that, would you like to take a look in the dessert menu? So, quer dar uma olhada? Ou o senhor ou a senhora gostaria de dar uma olhada no cardápio? All right. And then, of course, you can say sim or não, obrigado. No, thank you. All right. So the last thing we have right here is order food. So, all right. So we already say, hi, how are you? Already order our drink, right? We are understanding the waiter or the waitress. Now it's time to order the food. So in here, we say the same thing. Me vê or me dá. And then I put it as an example right here, picanha. So for example, in here I still have the water example, but just to see, just to show you that your order drink and order food is the same, you know? So you can say, me dá uma picanha, por favor. So picanha, for who don't know, picanha basically, it means a type of meat we have in Brazil. It's very famous, you know? Probably if you have been to a Brazilian steakhouse, you probably have eaten picanha. So you can say, can I have some picanha? Or give me picanha, please? Or see me picanha, right? So, me vê uma picanha, me dá uma picanha. And then in here, if you order meat, for example, they might ask you what type, like if you want well done, if you want middle done. So basically, we in Portuguese we have three main ones. Well done, we say bem passado, right? And then we have mal passado. So we have mal passado, ao ponto e bem passado. Okay? So bem passado is well done. All right. And then mal passado, it doesn't mean that it's totally raw, but is basically is before ao ponto, but it's not completely raw. All right. So if they look right here in this sentence, I use o senhor. So I change você to o senhor. And then I say deseja is another way to say which one would you like. So, qual ponto da carne o senhor deseja? Or I can say a senhora deseja. All right. We already said good night, good evening. So good night. No, we already said good afternoon, good evening. We already ordered our drink. We already ordered our food. Maybe we order some dessert, and now it's time to ask for the bill. You know, basically, bill in Portuguese we say a conta. So we say the same. So look, what is interesting? If you stick with this sentence, me vê, you can say to three of the situations to order the drink, to order the food, and to ask for the bill. Look, the same. In here is the drink, right? So, me vê uma água, por favor. We can say for the food, me vê. In here we say have água, but you can say me vê uma picanha, por favor. And then me vê a conta, por favor. You know? So if you stick with this one, you're fine. You can say you can order the drink, you can order food, and you can ask for the bill. All right. And then right here is very important. It's very funny because you know, as I told you at the beginning of this lesson, my wife is from the US and she has lived with me for 2 years in Brazil. And then it's funny because before she didn't know how to speak Portuguese, but now she can. So, and it was funny because sometimes when she wants to pay, for example, before she didn't have a credit card, she didn't like having a credit card, but now she already has. But anyway, this is another topic, right? But people would ask her, débito ou crédito? It's funny. So this is a tip. I don't know if is it still like this, but this is a tip for you guys. In Brazil, if you have an American debit card If you try to pay with your debit card, actually it doesn't work if you say debit. Because it's an international card, you need to say credit. So I remember my wife had a hard time because all the time they would ask her, débito ou crédito? Because in Brazil, when you're gonna pay for the bill, you say that you're gonna pay with your credit card or debit card. All the time they ask debit or credit because in the machine they can select debit or credit. It's not automatic, you know. In Brazil, a lot of banks they have in the same card both functions, you know, debit or credit. So that's why they usually ask debit or credit. So you can say debit or credit, you know. So my wife, she had debit. So she would say in Portuguese, débito, but wouldn't work. And then we realized, and then one day, by mistake, actually, she said crédito. You know, she said all the time. She was saying, let me try to see if it works. It didn't work because she said débito. Let me try to pay. It didn't work. And then one day she said, let me try to pay. I was already tired because every time she tried to use her card, it didn't work. But then she said by mistake crédito, and it worked. You know, so if you are using your debit card in Brazil, and if it doesn't work, try to say crédito. Okay? So all the time they say débito. And then if it's credit, just say crédito. So repeat with me. Débito ou crédito. Okay? Also, another thing really important. In here in the US, all that we have a tip culture, right? So when you go to a restaurant, usually you leave 15, 20% tip. In Brazil, we don't have this tip culture, but usually we live 10% we call uh, service fee, you know? So it's basically like a tip, but usually it's 10% in Brazil, all right? Okay, so now that we already understood everything, all the vocabulary, let's see in a dialect. So I'm gonna read, I will be the customer and the waitress or the waiter, and then I will read slow, and then you try to read after me. Okay? So right now, let's see the dialect right here. So, okay, so we have cliente, customer, and garçom, waiter. So let's do it. So, boa noite, tudo bem? Boa noite, seja bem-vindo. Obrigado. O senhor gostaria de uma bebida? Me vê uma água, por favor? Com gás ou sem gás? Com gás. Gelo e limão no copo? Não, obrigado. Ótimo. Já volto. Fique à vontade. Okay, so a little pause right here. So right here, the customer got there, right? We already skipped the part where you say, table for how many people and whatever. So in here, probably waiter approach them. I just put one person just to be easier the dialect. So let's imagine that it's hard that to happen, but let's imagine that it's only one person, only one customer. All right. So basically, the customer said, "Good night, how are you?" And the waiter say, "Good night, welcome to the restaurant." And the customer say, "Thank you." And look, in here it changed. O senhor gostaria de uma bebida? You, so they change você to o senhor. So, would you like something to drink? Me vê. Look, they already use me vê. Me vê uma água, por favor. Me vê, can I have some water, please? Me vê. And then the waiter say, sparkling water com gás or normal or sem gás? Com gás. And then he ask, gelo e limão no copo? Não, obrigado. Great, ótimo. I'll be right back. Já volto. Fique à vontade. Fique à vontade is a very common expression in Portuguese to say just, feel at home, or feel free to do whatever you want, or feel relaxed. It's very hard to translate this sentence in Portuguese, fica à vontade, because basically we are saying, just relax, just enjoy, just feel free to do whatever you want, basically. So usually people use when you go to restaurant, but for example, if you come to my house, and then I say, take a seat. Usually I say, fique à vontade. So like, feel free to do whatever you want, more or less, like, I mean, this is the expression just because it's really hard to translate that expression into English. All right. So, okay. So in here, he already ordered his drink, right? So the waiter went there to grab his sparkling water, and now he's back. And then the waiter gonna ask, o senhor está pronto para fazer o pedido? Sim. Me vê uma picanha, por favor? Qual ponto o senhor deseja? Mal passado, bem passado? Eu quero o ponto. Ótimo. All right, let's do another pause right here. So look, he asked, "Are you ready to order?" So I already changed it. O senhor está pronto para fazer o pedido? Sim, I would like, or can I have a picanha, please? And then they ask if they want a well done, medium done. And then the waiter goes there and get the food. So wait a little bit, they're gonna prepare the dish, and then after maybe 10 minutes, he's back. After he's back, he brings the food, the customer eat everything, and then now the waiter approaches again. O senhor aceita uma sobremesa? Não, obrigado. Estou cheio. Me vê a conta, por gentileza? Claro, aqui está. Vou pagar no cartão. Ok. Débito ou crédito? Crédito. Perfeito, aqui está. Tenha um ótimo dia. All right. So in here, look, this is very interesting because he changed você to o senhor. So o senhor aceita uma sobremesa. This is another way to express, would you like to have some dessert? So o senhor aceita, literally translating, would be, do you accept this dessert? And then, no, thank you. I'm full. But can I have the bill, please? And then they say, okay, sure, claro, aquí está. Here we go. And then he said, okay, we'll pay by card, debit or credit? Credit. Okay, great, perfect. Here we go. Have a good day. And it's okay, thank you. All right, guys. So I hope everything I said you guys understood. And in here I have a summary of the, because I gave a lot of information to you guys. And basically, if I told you before, if you just stick with this me vê, you can do everything. You can say me vê uma água, me vê uma picanha, me vê a conta. So this me vê is very helpful for you to say in a restaurant, all right? And then try to also use por favor at the end of the sentence, because we say, give me, or can you provide this, please? Can you provide me this, please? All right, so me vê or me dá and then we put please at the end, por favor. Another really interesting thing that is worth to remember is bill, right? Sometimes you, especially if you are visiting a friend, a family member, or a partner, sometimes you wanna treat those person, right? Those people. So then it's good you ask for the bill. You say, the bill, please, because then the waiter will understand that you're gonna pay, right? So I can say just the bill, please. A conta, por favor. And then the last one that is very interesting is just to kind of get used to what the waiter will say. they will say vocabulary like o senhor, a senhora, or você gostaria. All right, guys. So this was the lesson for today. You can take a screenshot of this summary. If you have any questions, make sure to write it any comment. I will see if you guys have any question. If you want to learn about a specific vocabulary about other thing, also make sure. And if you like, please comment and then subscribe to our channel. I will try to post all the time this type of video to help you speak Portuguese faster than you think. All right? Thank you very much and see you later. Até mais. Tchau, tchau.